What's a funny memory you have that if you told someone, they'd think you're lying? I once checked in at a restaurant and gave the hostess my name to hold my slot. She then asked for my last name since the person below shared my first name. When I told her my last name, she looked at me like I was lying. The person below had my first and last name. She laughed and introduced us, and we took a pic. I've never met someone with my same first and last name since. I was in elementary school, during recess, just kinda daydreaming and looking at some ravens flying overhead, when one of them suddenly took a nosedive, right into an open trash can. So of course I rush over there to check it out, but the raven was just gone out of nowhere. I was not the only pine who saw it though, another kid came rushing over as well, and that's how I met my best friend for the next 4 years. A friend once called the wrong number, got the wrong house, and had the right person pick up. So, I was at work, replacing a modem for my boss. I'd removed the modem and connected a telephone to test that it had dial tone. Soon after, the phone rang. It didn't make much sense, because that phone line had only been used for outgoing calls from the computer. When I picked up, the person on the other line just said, "Hey man, you want to see a movie later?" I recognized the voice, too. It was a friend of mine. I was really confused for a second and said something like, "Josh? How did you get this number?" He said he called my home phone number. He must have misdialed my number, and accidentally dialed the number for my boss's modem line, at work. He called the wrong number, got the wrong house, and the right person picked up, on a phone that had only been connected for 2 minutes in the past 2 years. The odds must be astronomical. It's just a weird coincidence that I'll always remember. Before my husband and I were married, but had been dating for a long while, I was watching Portlandia and bam, there's my husband on screen. Dumbfounded I called him and he casually said, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that." I went to see Mitch Hedberg do stand-up. We stayed around a while hoping to see him leaving. He never materialized though, so my husband and I walked towards our car. As we were walking we heard a woman yell from an alley, "Hey! Mitch Hedberg is back here signing autographs." We walked around the corner behind a scary old building. It was like 1 a.m. and pretty dark. There was Mitch Hedberg and no other fans. Just him and his wife, who had been the one to yell about autographs. He was very high and super lovey. He hugged my husband and me and told us what his fans mean to him. He took pictures of us for his scrapbook page online. He was also hilarious. We were just there behind a building at 1 a.m. with Mitch Hedberg and his wife laughing and hugging deep into the wee hours. When I tell people this they go silent and I'm not sure why. I figure they don't believe it. I got stung by a platypus. An eagle came for my face as a child. I was about 8. I ducked and it ended up grabbing my hair and taking some with it. I ran inside crying and told my mom. She didn't believe me so I never told anyone else. I'm 22. Started college. Saw my brother's best friend on campus, from a distance. Hard to miss, Nate's 6 feet 6 inches, skinny, long brown hair. Fitting of our childish friendship, I straight up open field tackle the guy. From behind. Blindsided. It's not Nate. I apologize, and sheepishly run away. 3 hours later, a girlfriend from high school introduces her new boyfriend to a group of us. It's the guy I tackled. Danny. Super nice, and forgiving, guy. We've been friends for 15 years. Got stuck in a bank for the night. When the bank is closed, you can still get to the ATM thanks to a security door. Once inside the door decided to stop working. No phone, no emergency button. Just waited here for hours till someone in the street saw me trough the glass and called someone. I was walking on a hiking/biking trail when a woman rode past me on her bicycle. I yelled out, "Keep the pedal to the metal." Not 2 seconds later I hear an awful metallic noise and turn to see the poor woman's pedal mechanism had fallen apart. She told me, "You shouldn't have said that." I apologized profusely and asked if she needed any help. Naturally she didn't, not from me anyway. I was the brokest I have ever been, living in the middle of nowhere. I was pulling my last $20 out of a gas station ATM. I hit the button and it spit out $60. I was only charged $20 on my account. It sounds like such a tall tale, but I swear it happened. I had a pet hummingbird as a kid. My mom found it injured on a sidewalk and nursed it back to health. It only had one eye and no depth perception, so we kept it inside. We'd let it buzz around the room, land on us, and all that jazz. My brother told his teacher about it, in 3rd grade, and the teacher actually called my mom and was like, "Your son has made up a crazy story and insists it's real." Reality was we had a pet hummingbird and that seemed crazy enough people didn't believe it. Back in middle school I was walking back to class after lunch when someone chucked something down the hallway as hard as they could. My natural instinct was to jump up and catch it. It was a perfect catch and not a single person saw. It was a mozzarella stick. This was a couple years ago, but I pulled up to a stoplight, and another vehicle in the next lane also comes to a stop. The car is filled with what looks like high school kids. The kid in the passenger seat notices me, taps on his window and starts doing the universal sign for rock, paper, scissors. I look at the light, which is still red, and immediately think fuck it and play along, so we start. 1 2 3 shoot and we tie. 1 2 3 shoot, we tie again. This keeps happening. All the young kids in the other car are involved and are screaming like woo every time we tie. We literally got off like 15 rounds of rock, paper, scissors, and tied every single time until the light turned green. I'm still high from that and hope all those guys are doing well. Was contract programming, dropping into the office every Friday. The assistant QA dude was there to take my work, who died and left you in charge. Jeff died 2 days ago. Oh. I tripped and fell at the same corner outside Subway 3 different times years apart and the same guy tried to catch me every single time. Edit. Okay, I keep getting loads of soulmate/marriage comments, so to clarify, I was 7 the first time this happened. This was a grown man LMAO. Edit 2. This man is not a stalker or pedophile. Him and my mom would recognize each other because she was with me each time. Yes, he fell trying to catch me, but it was funny, so it's okay. And no, this was not the underground train type of Subway, I mean the sandwich shop. He did not work there, and no, he isn't homeless. Fuck's sake. Getting a lot of the same BS comments. And no, he wasn't tripping me, we would be walking opposite directions. And no, his name isn't Robbie. I was playing 8-ball at a bar one night. I'm not very good, just play for fun. I'm on a slight winning streak. My next opponent racks them, and I break. 8-ball goes in on the break, so it's an automatic win. Dude refuses to leave the table, continues to put quarters in and racks again. I'm like, dude, you lost. There's like 8 people in line to play next. He's drunk and being stubborn and won't leave. So I break again. And the 8-ball drops again. Dude walks away without saying a word. It's not really funny, but I shot a hole in one while golfing by myself when I was 16. It wasn't one of those beautiful arching shots, no. It was a worm burner that I thought ended up in a little stream behind the hole because it appeared to disappear off the back of the green. Looked for 20 minutes before just walking by the hole. I was driving a friend home to Indianapolis from Holy Cross in South Bend. We got pulled over for speeding and the cop asked me, "Son, do you know how fast you were going?" To which I replied with a straight face and no sarcasm, "Well, my cruise control was set at 88, so I'm guessing somewhere in the vicinity of 88. I've never seen such a confused look on a person's face. He proceeds to ask if I can step out of my vehicle and into his so he can talk to me while he writes me a ticket. I comply, and as he's writing me up, he's explaining to me how he had to do his sheriff training in Indianapolis. He said that the one thing that amazed him was how fast locals drive ESP on I-465, and he understands why I'm conditioned to do so. Soon as he's done with the ticket, he turns to me and says, "So here's the deal. You're the first motorist to ever admit to me you knew you were speeding, so I'm gonna cut you a break. If you can make it back to Indy without getting another ticket, I won't turn this one in, but if you do, you're getting 2. I slowed down for the rest of the drive. So I worked for the IRS collecting taxes several years ago. I had seized someone's car and the IRS salespeople were in the process of selling it. IRS procedures around some of this stuff are ancient. One of the procedures are to post a notice of sale in 3 public locations. So I go to the library to post a notice of sale. The person on the ground floor says that I'll have to talk to Steve on the 2nd floor to see if it's okay for me to post the notice of sale on the bulletin board. I walk up the stairs and see a guy sitting at the desk. Me, "Are you Steve?" Steve, who's asking? The IRS. In a playful manner. Me, long pause, yes, in fact. My name is XXXXXX. Steve, just about falls out of his chair, Jesus Christ. I've been using that joke for 20 years. I never thought anyone would ever say yes. My sister being bullied by a parrot calling her names. I peed on a bear once at 12 or 13. Some background: I lived in a mountain cabin with some family, aunts and cousins and stuff. The cabin was small, but we had several acres, so we had about 4 RV trailers for the rest of the family. 2 were my aunts, 1 was for wheat, and the last and closest smallest was for children, which was just my brother and I at the time. Anyhow, it was a cold wintry day with fresh snow as I wake up having to piss so bad I'm surprised I didn't wet the bed. I'm groggy as hell and my eyes are barely open as I head to the trailer door and open it, start my morning leak. I did not notice the bear less than 2 feet away, so close I could have pet him if I leaned a bit forward with its head in the garbage can until I was halfway done when it moved. So of course I turned my whole body in my half-asleep state in to see what moved, and I finally notice a giant brown furry thing, and I'm pissing all over its hind left thigh and leg as I'm wondering what it is, as the bear lifts its head and looks at me. We stare at each other for a moment as my actions begin to dawn on me. A moment later I finish. The bear and I stared at each for several moments until I took a step back, shut our flimsy door and locked our deadbolt that would have been useless had the bear decided I insulted his honor. And I went back to bed listening and waiting until I eventually went back to sleep.